Master debater Bonnie Blue goes head-to-head with Andrew Tate. This interview is currently breaking the internet. I got a banger from Rob Moore. Let's get straight into it.
Andrew, what do you think of Bonnie Blue sleeping with 1,057 men?
She's a runner, she's a track
How
star.
honest should I be out of 10?
11.
I want you to be honest.
You want me to be honest?
Yeah, go on.
I don't understand why men sit here and try and lecture you about it. I don't understand why men sit here and say you shouldn't do it. It's your body, your choice, right? This is the world we now live in. This is the end result.
Yeah, it's the end result of feminism. It's peak feminism.
Of feminism. You are the perfect end result of feminism. In the world I believe in the conservative, traditionally masculinely ruled world, a man would be in charge of his daughters until they're handed over to their husbands or boyfriends, and there would be a degree of masculine guidance. But feminism didn't want that. You know, women complain that men don't want to get married. We did actually want to get married. When we
men, typically, it seems to me, in chat, put a one in the chat if you agree with Andrew on this. It seems like men, typically, we wanted to be married. We want to be in relationships, but in return, feminism just took over the ideology of women in the dating market, and they just all became runners.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
I'm sexually liberated. I can do whatever I want with my body. I can go get my back blown out by a ton of guys.
She's the village bicycle. Everyone's had a ride.
It's just, we've fallen so far, you know what I mean?
got obedient virgins, but they disappeared and they complained about the patriarchy and they were tired of us giving them a house to live in and kids to raise, and they wanted to make their own choices. So she's making her own choice. That's a fantastic thing. I actually have a lot of respect for you because you own it and you're honest about it.
What if it was your daughter?
Well, that won't happen.
Never, bro.
She's her own person.
I never said my daughter's her own person. I said
my daughter's
I said
my daughter.
women want to be their own people. But my point is, there's so many women who go to Magaluf for a weekend and do something very similar, and then they come back to England and get with some f***ing guy and start.
Or they go to the Maldives and to get their muff dived on. You know what I mean? They go to these crazy places. I mean, heck, we did a video about these ladies going to Dubai for these porta potty parties. Porta potty. Good Lord, Levi.
You stupid.
Porta potty parties. Say that one 10 times fast.
Asking for presents from him and talking about how they deserve a traditional relationship and they want to get married and they want a Christmas present and all this bullshit. Most women do exactly what Bonnie does. I don't see you any different than most women. And I'm not saying that in a degrading way.
Most women don't sleep with 1,057 men in a day.
1,000? Doesn't fucking matter.
I think it does.
I don't really think it does.
So
it definitely does, bro. Chat, put one in the chat if you agree. It matters how many men a woman a woman sleeps with. Like, bro, this totally matters. But I'm curious to see where Andrew goes with this.
Disgusting to me. If I met a woman and she said, I just sucked a dick yesterday, I'd say, well, I find you repulsive. I don't want to sleep with you. Goodbye.
What, so you're only going after virgins?
Well, it's not about only going after virgins, but I think if you're a straight man, the idea of having a bunch of men, a woman that you're with, is pretty repulsive.
But everyone has a past.
But see, this is the kind of shit people say. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Everyone has a past. That's not acceptable. In fact, let's analyze that. Everyone has a past. You're right. Everyone does have a past. It's true. But isn't the primary objective of a man to find a woman with as little past as possible? Would you argue that's one of the precursors to finding a wife?
Yes. Well, because a woman's past matters just like a man's future matters. If you're going to get with a woman that's had her back blown out like her stepdad was a chiropractor, not a good idea. You're looking for a woman with the least amount of baggage, the least amount of trauma. Kevin Samuels said it best. Women make the men of their present pay for the mistakes and trauma of the men of their past, which means there's going to be no future. So if you find a woman that's got less baggage, more than likely you've got a higher likelihood that she'll actually stay with you. Dr. Helen Fig from Harvard she did a study about this. Women that have, I believe it's more than 5 sexual partners, the likeliness that they'll get divorced or initiate divorce is around like 70%. So the lower the bodies, it does matter.
Hearing that wives were supposed to be virgins. This was the deal. The reason I'm proud of Bonnie, and I am genuinely proud of you, I like Bonnie. I like what she's doing. Because the deal was...
Are you not, like, contradicting yourself here?
In what way?
Well, you're proud of her sleeping with 1,057 guys, but women should be virgins.
No, I'm saying that the social contract, the construct of society that made family function, was women were obedient virgins and they found a man who provided for them and they listened to that man. Women have then said, we don't like the patriarchy. We're tired of being provided for. We're tired of being taken care of. We don't want to listen to anybody. We want to make our own decisions. That was women and feminism that ended the traditional family unit. And now women can make their own decisions. So I'm glad that Bonnie's making her own decision.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
here to
people
tell you not to do
say
it.
I take women back 100 years. I'm like, no, I'm the clear example of how to be empowered. I use my body. I do what I want when I want. And this is
That's not empowering, honey.
the thing you've been banging on about for years. And when I get hate, like when I click on the comments of these women that are like, oh, you're taking us back 100 years, then in their bio it says stay-at-home mom of 2. I'm thinking, what was you rooting for?
That's
because
right.
you have just stayed
That's
at
right,
home.
Bonnie. See, this is the future.
Yeah.
This is the future. This is fantastic. It's exactly what Western society is headed to. So why are we going to sit here and pretend this is not? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that most women who go on girls' holidays aren't doing something similar to what Bonnie does just because it's not on camera? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that these men who walk around with their wives in the pub in England, and they're like, oh, my wife, yeah, everyone has a past. Oh, no, she's done the same shit. What's the difference? Who gives a f***, right? We're either going to care and accept that women are judged on their past and judged on their innocence and judged on their naivety and judged on these things like it used to be, or we're going to sit and say it doesn't matter, everyone has a past. Well, if everyone has a past, everyone has a past. Who gives a f***? Does it really matter?
So
anymore?
What would you do if it was your daughter, though?
But why are you asking impossible questions?
Well, it's not an impossible question.
Of course it is.
How?
It can't happen.
But anything can happen.
It's against the laws of physics.
It's not.
I mean, if your
It's
daughter opened her
not.
legs and took 1,000 dicks, it's not impossible.
Of course it is.
What?
Why
I
is
mean,
it
the dicks
impossible?
would enter her pussy, therefore she's taken.
It's literally impossible for my daughter.
What, are you going to be there against your daughter's pussy saying that?
Well, because I'm
it's
pretty
not-
sure he has like a woman that's Romanian, and I believe they're very, very traditional. So she's not going to be raised in the Western culture that she's been raised around. And more than likely, his daughter has a present dad. Seems like Bonnie Blue probably does not have that. Probably doesn't have a real tight relationship with her father.
Entering
No,
it.
my daughter just wouldn't make that decision.
But why?
Because I still raise her in a household where she is masculinely guided. And she will be guided by me until I hand her over to some other man.
See, I applaud that. That's great, but I don't buy into the whole notion that he's actually proud of her. I think he's trolling. There's no way you can be proud of a woman that's a runner, bruv.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
I'm in no way, shape, or form proud of what Bonnie Blue's doing. I think it's awful. I think it's despicable. I think it is taking women back 100 years because I believe that men and women are made for each other. We're better together. Together we're better, right? We thrive in groups. We thrive in societal, groups. And a marriage and a relationship is one of those societal groups. And I think with her, she's going to find herself really alone in the future. And typically, when you build a family, you have a lot of pride in that. And it seems like with what she's doing, maybe she does have some pride. But I don't see this lasting a very long time because your shelf life will dip. Like as far as a woman that does this kind of work, like your value is not going to be as high as it was 10 years ago as it is today. So she may not be getting validated as much, but maybe she will. I don't know. Maybe she will. Maybe she feels that egotistical validation. But I think it's better that we go back to creating families and having children in God's image and things like that. Like this behavior is, this behavior is crazy work.
However, I believe when women are left to their own devices, they will only ever make stupid decisions.
Was mine a stupid decision?
I wouldn't say it's any more stupid than most decisions women make, to be honest with you. I think that most women, to some degree, are sex workers anyway. Let's be honest about it, right? Most women look at Miami or Dubai. What's your job? Oh, I've got a boyfriend. So your job is being a girlfriend. And why does he give you money? Because you give him sex. So most women are sex workers anyway, to be honest.
But isn't that what you said the family unit was?
Well, then you're a sex worker with one customer. Which is nice. I guess it's better. It's more efficient.
But what about if you're raising children? That's not sex work, is it?
No, that's being a mother.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting, Rob. Rob said this, not me. So they're either virgins, sex workers, or mothers. Are those the three categories?
I think you're putting words into my mouth.
I think that's what Rob just said. Those are the three categories.
I'm just sat in the middle.
And women have to choose to be one of them.
So is that what you think?
I think that when a woman becomes a mother, she has a purpose. And I think that women should be having children as soon as possible. And I think it gives their life a direction. And I think it's the most important thing to preserve society.
Yes.
Especially if you want to talk about geopolitics and talk about race and all of these things. If you want to have a country that looks like the country it used to be, you need to have the original people from there having children. I think all of that is true. Absolutely. I think every day a woman goes without having kids is primarily a waste of time. But once again, what does it matter what I think? Rob, I've given up. I've given up trying to save the world. I've given up. No.
I mean, he's got a point. Andrew does have a point. Like, he's done a lot. And dude, looking at him now, I'm so pale compared to him, dude. I need to get some sun, bro. I look like a freaking vampire. I need to go outside. But at a certain point, it has to be women that lead this charge that want to change things. It can't be men. It can't be guys like Andrew Tate or hell, even me. It can't be guys like us being like, we need the nuclear family. We need to change things. Like, women have to want to change these things. And it seems like feminism is just constantly lying to these women, so they're never really gonna want to change. Ain't that right, Loki? I've fallen at work and been injured. Oh, wait. I should call my lawyer.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
Hey, John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. It's Levi Nichs of YouTube. Can I get some cash, please?
Morgan & 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 Morgan.
Did you know that your injury could be worth millions of dollars? Morgan & Morgan is the largest injury law firm in America, and they've recovered over $20 billion for their clients. $20 billion? That's a lot of cash. The insurance companies tried to lowball me, but Morgan & Morgan was able to take my pain and suffering and turn it into cold, hard cash. It's almost a good thing I was injured. But wait. How much is Morgan & Morgan gonna cost me? You never owe them legal fees unless they're successful. So it's completely free unless you win? Yeah. Hiring a lawyer? That sounds like really difficult. It's actually super easy. You can just go to their website, and in a couple clicks, you can find out if you have a case. And you can literally do it from your smartphone. And remember, there is only one Morgan & Morgan. Wait, but it's two names though. How is it? Give me the script. Oh, both their last names. Okay, I get it. Okay, roll it. You can start your claim today by going to forthepeople.com/Levi, found in the description below. So if you're injured, you can trust Morgan & Morgan. I'm not gonna bother him. This man is passed out. He's working too hard, bro. He's getting old, man. That 5-year birthday seemed to have got you, boy, bro.
Oh, no, Rob,
No, you haven't.
I've given up on misogyny and all this shit.
No, you haven't.
They attacked me with the Matrix. They keep throwing me in jail. I am now all for women empowerment. I think women should run around as many men as they want. I like what Bonnie's doing. She's getting the bag. She's getting rich. Most girls out here don't want to have kids. They just want to get Birkin bags and Instagram likes. Good. I'm a feminist, a pro-feminism. This is the world now. How the world's going to end up, who cares about the future? Doesn't matter.
See, women go around, use sex to their advantage, but then are happy to cry about it straight away, saying, oh, he took advantage of me. And it's like, you're the one that wanted to do sex to have like the job promotion, or you're the one that wanted to have sex to get more attention or try and be more liked, but then they cry about it. And that's what I get frustrated about. And even with porn stars, like people in my industry, they'll do this for a few years, get the money, get the boob jobs, get the house. And then suddenly they go, oh my God, I was forced into the industry. Oh my God, someone took all my money.
Have you ever considered a job as a lawyer?
No.
I could do with you. You're 100% right. So this is the false dichotomy of society, right? So this is the reason when I said I like what Bonnie does, because Bonnie completely 100% owns what she does, and she says it's my decision.
True.
And I've seen people try and lecture you. I've seen people sit there and try and lecture you and say like, oh, but you're a creature of God and you shouldn't be doing this. No, you should do whatever you want.
Exactly.
It's up to you to do whatever you want. And you're not saying anybody tricked you into it. It's your decision. And let's be honest, when they talk about taking women back 100 years, let's actually be very honest here, Rob. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
There's always
It's the oldest profession.
Ancient Rome had There's always been the Aztecs had you think there weren't concubines in the fucking Ming dynasty sucking little Chinese pee-pee? Of course there were. There's always been. It's the oldest profession in the world.
I mean, he has a point. Like, that kind of work has been around for a very long time, brother.
Exactly.
So do you think it's a legitimate job?
What?
No.
I mean, no, check her bank. I'm sure she's making loads of money. So here's where do you draw the line? If we're going to live in this false dichotomy, because the world was very simple once, not too long ago. And
here's the reason I think it's not. I mean, yes, does it make a lot of money, but degeneracy usually attracts a lot of customers. Low prices attract a lot of customers. Degenerate things attract a lot of degenerate people, right? The reason I think it's not a legitimate job is because if you were to take Bonnie Blue's looks, her aesthetic, take that away from her and just replace her brain in another woman's body that doesn't look good, because I'm not saying Bonnie Blue looks good, but if you were to replace her brain in another woman's body, there's no way she could go make that money just off her brain power alone. She has to sell her body. She has to rely on, absolutely giving up all humility and being shamed online. Like, there's a level of shame to it that most people just couldn't live with. Like, at night, most people can't go to sleep knowing that guys have done what they've done to her. Most women can't. the majority of women can't. And I feel like the majority of men can't either. There's a very small percentage of people that can actually go out and do these things and not feel any shame or humility, or they don't feel crushed internally of their soul and their spirit. So, I guess kudos to her for being just a soulless being. But, for me, that would be something that I could never do. Like, I couldn't go to sleep at night knowing that there's that level of shame on the internet. You know what I mean? But different strokes for different folks, I guess.
And men had this terrible misogynistic view, which I, of course, don't agree with, that women can't make their own decisions because they're naturally chaotic. And when women decide anything, life's fucked up. In fact, these men, these men in their disgusting misogyny, believed if you gave women the vote, we'd end up with open borders and drag queen story hours. So they didn't give women the vote. Then they did give women the vote, and society took a particular direction. But when men were in charge of things, women didn't have to worry about what they can do with their life because their father took care of it and then their husband took care of it. But now we live in a brand new world where women can make all of their own decisions, and the path...
We live in a brand new world where women can make all of their own decisions, and look how far we have fallen.
She's chosen, I don't think is any different than most paths women take. I think she's just more honest about it and more upfront about it. If you're going to go to Dubai and meet a girlfriend and you think she hasn't been for money the entire time she was living in Dubai, then you're an idiot. If you're in Miami and you got girls on your boat and you think they're not for money all of the time, now they may not say per hour, but they'll be a guy they barely like to get the rent paid, or they're a guy they barely like because he has a car.
Yeah.
So women are for money all the time anyway. That's all women do now. The entire Western world is women for money. So how hypocritical would it be for me to sit here and say, Bonnie, who's honest, who monetizes it directly with her own media empire, who's upfront about it and makes money from it, is a worse person than the girl who walks around like she's goody two-shoes and then sucks in a Magaluf toilet? Because that's what most girls are doing anyway. Mm-hmm. Rob, the world's... They're all like this. Rob, they're all the same.
I don't agree with this whole take. Like, there's nothing you can do about it, right? I believe that what she's doing is glorifying it to a certain degree, and glorification brings attention, and sometimes that's positive attention. That's why I think we have... Pearl talked about this from Just Barely Thinks. We have about 10% of women from the ages of 18 to 24. There's 10 million of them in the United States right now, women 18 to 24, and 1 million of them are on OnlyFans. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I remember back in my day, you actually had to work hard for a little titty pic. Something like that, a little nip. You just had to grind it out and really talk to her a lot to get one of them. Nowadays, you can get online. But I believe there's a level of glorification that comes with this that's not positive for, the world here. But I'm hoping that I'm hoping that it just corrects itself, right? She shows how disgusting it can be when it's peak level feminism, and I think the more we relate Bonnie Blue to feminism, the more disgusting it is. And I think the more women will be like, God, if that's peak feminism, I do not want that. But I don't know. We'll see.
Are you trying to say I'm not special now?
No, I'm saying you're special, actually, because you've gone so far through. You've come out as the queen of it. Congratulations.
Yeah. But didn't you say this kind of thing is the demise of Western society?
I mean, if I was a misogynist, I would believe this is the final end result of feminism, and the end times are here, and that nobody's going to have kids anymore. And
I don't think it's the end result. I think it's the end result of feminism, but I don't think it's the end of times. I just think it's this is like we're peaking out on it right now.
The idea of a beautiful marriage between a man and a woman is now completely gone. I mean, if I was a disgusting misogynist, but since they keep...
No, I don't think it's completely gone. A lot of that's still happening here in the South, at least for like Texas and stuff like that. A lot of the people I know are getting married and have kids.
But you don't have one beautiful marriage, do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Have you slept with 1,057 women?
At least.
So are you quite similar?
Absolutely.
It's a badge of honor, though, for a guy.
Not.
Why not?
Because it's the male's prerogative to impregnate as many females as possible. This is the masculine prerogative. This is biologically my prerogative is to do that.
I think we should do a breeding competition. We'll see if you can get a girl pregnant quicker than I can get pregnant.
Well, I mean, that'd be a good competition. I think I'd win. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but it's interesting because you have to look at society. When you look at these things, you have to look at society from an animalistic perspective and a societal perspective. From the animalistic...
I don't know. What do you got? Here's my opinion on this whole interview. I feel like Andrew's nerfing himself here, mainly because he's been in a lot of trouble. So I feel like he's not saying what he really wants to say. Because I've heard him talk about the nuclear family and, things like that. I feel like he's nerfing himself because he knows he's got the crosshairs on his back. So he's like, I'm sick of going to prison, bro. So he's like, I'm just start agreeing with it.
Perspective, it is the masculine imperative to get as many women as possible pregnant.
Yeah, but
if you want to be purely
it's
animalistic,
not 1512.
No, but let's be purely animalistic. Let's talk about this like professionals. If a man is high value, high testosterone, alpha male, whatever you want to call him, right? His imperative is to impregnate women. And he wants to take care of those women and take care of those kids. He's not overly interested in the kids. It doesn't mean he doesn't love them. It means he doesn't want to sit there and play with them all day. When you see a man who wants to play with a baby all day, that man is probably gay. It's boring.
Well, it doesn't mean he wants the kid.
No, he's gay. He's gay. So real men just want to pregnant, money, cool. See you an hour a week. Boom, boom, boom. Now, there's a lot of men who are going to disagree with me on that, but those are a lot of men I can beat shit out of, so I don't give a f. That's the truth of it. The female imperative is to find a man who's obsessed with her so that when she gets pregnant, she's going to have protection and provision when she's not capable of looking after herself. That is the female biological imperative and the masculine biological imperative. I'm still living to my biological imperative to some degree. If I were to, let's say, have 4 or 5 women and I had kids with 4 or 5 women and I took care of 4 or 5 women and I was with all of them and they were exclusively only with me and we had children over and over and over again, that's my biological imperative. It's actually...
See, I don't, there's just something in me that I don't agree with that. I believe a man and a woman, nuclear family, you're married, you have one partner. The whole polygamy or polyamory thing, I think never works. I think you deprive the children. It's because the thing is, if you have 4 or 5 women with your children, in my opinion, you have 4 or 5 broken homes. This is where I disagree with Andrew Tate on this. I believe it's better to have one woman. Now, from his perspective, it's worked for him. So why would he not believe it? You know what I mean? It has worked for him. He's got millions of dollars, accolades. He's one of the most famous men on the planet. So clearly he's getting validation internally and externally that everything he's doing is working. So, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm getting validation internally and externally that what I'm doing is working. But I don't know. I think it's a little odd that he's like, I can go out there and impregnate 5 women and have 5 kids with them and a bunch of kids with them and they'll get everything out of it. Like, you're not really being close to your children. So how are you going to guide your children if you only see them 1 hour a week? 1 hour a week, that is not enough. Now, I'm not saying you got to go do playtime with your kids, but you need to spend quality time with your children. That's what children want from their parents is quality time. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Children want quality time and they want to play in their world. Now, a guy that wants to play with his children all the time, I really don't think he's gay. I think that's a great thing. I wish my dad would have played with me more. I wish he would have went outside and thrown the baseball with me, thrown the football with me. I would have really enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy like hanging out with my mom all the time. I wanted to learn some boy stuff and I never got to learn these things. I had to go teach my things, these teenage boy, and then manly things. I had to go learn all these things on my own. I would have much rather have been guided to those things, learned how to do certain things, learned how to build things and do construction. My dad was good with like woodworking and construction. I would have loved to have learned some of this stuff, but I never got to. I was robbed of it because my dad was absent. But my dad was a druggie. So it's a little different, but he has the capacity and the time to be around his children and to be in their lives. And for him to think that it would be detrimental if he was around them more is a very odd philosophy to me. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Do you agree with that? I just think it's odd that it's like, he used to lean so far right and now he's leaning left. And I'm just like kind of confused of exactly where his viewpoints are now.
Against the female biological imperative to do what Bonnie is doing, I would argue. Traditionally. But that means you break paradigms. That's great. But feminism and society and this brand new societal conditioning is convincing women that what they're supposed to do, which is find a man they love and be obsessed with him and get pregnant from him, is the wrong thing to do. Well, then let's all just become sex workers now.
But you disagree with that feminist program.
I don't have an opinion, Rob, because I have 14 criminal cases. I don't have an opinion. I'm just here. I'm a commentator. I'm just commentating.
Okay, so he pretty much validated it. He's like, I got a lot of stuff going on right now. He's not trying to put any more crosshairs on his back. I mean, it's a smart move. You've got to kind of be egalitarian if you got a bunch of that stuff on target on you.
Have opinions?
I don't have an opinion. No, I don't have an opinion. Women can do whatever they want. Women are fantastic. We live in this great society now where women are girl bosses and better than us, while also are equals at everything, while also everything they do they regret was a man's fault somehow. As Bonnie described, they were tricked into it. So we live in this impossible situation where a man can't possibly win anyway, no matter what opinion he has. But I'm just saying it would be unprofessional and hypocritical of me to sit here and think that Bonnie is doing anything different or anything bad or anything wrong when she does the same thing 99.9% of Western women do anyway.
Okay, so Bonnie...
You get one extreme.
I don't buy that. I don't believe 99.9% of women are doing this, chat. Let me know. What percentage do you think of women that are actually doing this? I don't think it's that high, though, bro. That's a very high percentage.
To the next. You get the women like me that are just sluts, and then you get the others that are lazy and won't even get on their knees and give a blowjob.
And they're sluts too.
To the next.
No, but this is the thing. They're sluts too. They're sluts for a different guy, or they're sluts for their ex, and they're not sluts for the new guy. These women are sluts too. It's all the same.
Like, I used to be a full service sex worker, like an escort, and I used to judge men that cheated. And then when I actually started speaking to these men, I was like, you know what? They've got a point. They're going to work. They're looking after their kids. They're still emptying the dishes because the wife's now refusing to do that, saying it should be equal. And then I say, well, when's the last time she gave you a blowjob? When's the last time she f***ed you? They couldn't name it. They couldn't even list the amount of times where they've had sexual intercourse. I'm like, of course you're going to need that. Of course you're going to cheat. So how can I ever say women are anything but lazy and poorly educated?
So do you think you're a good role model?
Bro,
for
it's just
women?
it's the powerlessness to lust. Like the fact that she's like, oh, you don't get a BJ, so it's like, bro, like lust really do be capturing so many people's souls. Like, bro, you're not gonna pass away if you don't get a BJ. You're not gonna, like, what happened to discipline and duty and like working out and provide, like, in my opinion, I believe, at least for me, when I was younger, I used to get a lot of validation from being promiscuous and having fun in college. I did my thing, but I kind of got it out of my system after a while. I was like, you know what, I'm kind of done. Like, I kind of want what's next. I want the next challenge. I was able to sleep with women, cool, but what's next? That's what I wanted, and I believe that should be a man's general progression as you kind of grow up. And that's one thing that marriage does, especially with the religious hierarchy, is it helps you conquer lust. You have one woman now, then you create children in God's image, and then you build a life together and help the world around you. You help your community, you help the economy, you help further things. Like the fact that I didn't get a BJ today. Of course I got to go cheat on my wife. That is wild to me. Like, we got to be able to conquer lust, bro. You know what I'm talking about, Lokes? Ridiculous.
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years. Of
what?
Taking control of your body.
Correct.
Being independent. I earn my own money. I don't rely on a guy. I'm
Girl
paid
power.
Exactly. I'm paid more than other
100%.
guys.
No, he's being so facetious, bro.
Do you think...
She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years. Absolutely correct.
And now
I'm not going to sit here and lecture you about God. I'm not going to sit here and no, that's all. She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years.
Yeah.
Women believe that they can do whatever they want.
Do you think they should be able to?
Listen, brother, I have 14 criminal cases. I don't want to be called a misogynist by the BBC. That would break my heart. That's not up to me. We're all individual sovereign people, and we make our own decisions. If women want to run around and do whatever they want to do, it's up to them. My point is, all women, on some scale, are doing what Bonnie Blue is doing. However, Bonnie Blue's just the best at it. She's the best. She's the queen of it. So why? It's
not all women are doing.
Let me ask you a question. If a man walks into Starbucks and steals a chocolate bar, he's a thief. Yeah, correct?
Not in London.
Well,
it's legal.
Yeah. And if a banker manages to liquidate a ton of stock illegally in the stock market or rip off a bunch of people with a false investment fund, whatever it is, he's a thief, right? The morality is the same, whether you're stealing from the Wall Street or you're stealing from Starbucks. The morality of it is the same. But people will sit there and argue that the banker is somehow worse than the guy who stole the chocolate bar because of how much he stole. I wouldn't argue there's a difference in morality. There's a difference in capability. But the morality is the same. The banker's just smarter.
I'm just a clever...
You're just very good. She is very good at what she's decided to do. If you're going to be a... And most women watching this, and most men, hello, your wife, yeah, her, they're all anyway. If you're going to be a... No disrespect. You may as well be fucking good at it. Get a media empire, get rich, let everyone know your name, and get paid. Why are you...
It's just so funny to me. He doesn't realize that he's actually talking about his own daughter. like Andrew, you just said earlier, oh, it's impossible. My daughter would never. But your daughter will soon be a boyfriend to a man and a husband to a man. So essentially you're talking. So, dude, he's completely nerfing himself here. Being absolutely ridiculous. Like, he doesn't even realize that. I think he's just trolling this whole interview, though. We're going to do a part 2 to this. Loki, what'd you think about part 1? It's kind of getting crazy, right? We're going to do a part 2 to this, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Make sure to check out part 2. Peace.